Rumor has it there has been a tester of the Resident Evil. Oh, I can't say that. There we have it. I was finished, so it's just one more. You don't need to add it onto a thing.
No. I'm not.
You said it twice.
Yeah.
I didn't.
No.
I said it once.
Said what once? Yeah, you go, I reckon.
No, I'll do Fireball. Definitely not. Yeah, you go.
Immediately.
Two pumps.
Stumbles at the first hurdle.
2 pumps. I love anyone tuning in at this point of the podcast. You know, some people like skip ahead.
Oh, I'd love to hear this rumor about Code Veronica.
Because they're like, Code Veronica rumor.
And they're like, what's happened to them?
I don't care about...
Why is Phil a bit slow?
I don't care what they were talking about earlier.
Why is Phil a bit slow right now?
I think we've all got a bit slow.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah.
Right. To resume what I was saying, a tester of the game that can't be mentioned, Code Veronica Remaster, has supplied some information. Shut the fuck up, Phil. And what that information is, apparently it starts with a prologue of Claire Redfield reminiscing of the story of the game that can't be mentioned too, which supposedly moves into her being locked into Rockfort, which I've never played Code Veronica, so fuck if I know what that is. Opposed to the original, that segment is now apparently playable and a fully fledged out section of the game.
Nice.
And as far as I know, that's all there is so far. So, coming across to you boys who are Code Veronica's experts, I will say, I don't fucking know how much you boys played this game, but you certainly know it more than me. Open floor. What do you think?
Wesker.
Yes.
That's the only word on my lips.
Okay.
And as much as Spencer's, he's brought up a few kind of key points that we should talk around. The point I want to talk around is that we're going to get Wesker. We're going to
He's
get
so happy. Look at him.
running across walls with fire.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh my God. We're going to get superpowers.
He loves Wesker so much.
We're going to get Wesker to the extreme. So Wesker's my favourite character in all of the game that can't be mentioned, and I cannot wait to see him back. So I'm a big subscriber to this as much as a rumour, and maybe I don't believe in every single fact of this, and maybe we'll come back round to this. I am excited to see more Wesker. Yeah. I really am.
I will say, David, before you add anything,
sure.
I did just accidentally say the name of the game, which, fair enough, I'd do a shot. I do also have 5 to give out. So that's 1 each.
Okay. What do you want us to do?
It's your choice. Your choice.
2 pumps?
Oh, yeah, we could do 2 pumps. Yeah.
Ridiculous. I'll do it for you.
Is this the first of your 5?
I think you should join us, Spence, in 2 pumps.
I'll give myself a double soju. I'm
Okay.
not giving myself 2 pumps.
So that's 3 of your 5 gone.
3 of my 5.
Cheers. Chin chin. It was so much easier without the Red Bull.
I don't know why we do Jaeger bombs.
It's so much better without the Jaeger bomb.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree.
So, on to the rumor. The thing you need to know about CV basically is that the start of the game, when you boot CV, what happens is it picks up immediately after the events of the game that can't be mentioned too. And it's where, if you remember, the end of CV is Claire saying, "Oh, I need to find my brother."
The entire game is that. But
yeah, but she needs to find her brother. Turns out Chris has gone across to Europe, she thinks. So she goes across to investigate a Paris lab of Umbrella. While there, this is the opening cutscene in the game. So it's a FMV, which they were at the time.
I believe so, yeah.
And she's investigating the lab, and she gets caught. And there's a helicopter that comes up that shoots bullets through the window. Then she gets surrounded by armed guards, and the next thing she wakes up in a prison,
Rockfort,
which is Rockfort, Ireland.
And in the movie adaptation of this,
RE2?
Apocalypse,
Oh god,
they reenact that
oh
moment,
god, oh
but
god.
with Alice.
Oh no, oh god.
They do.
Yeah, we're gonna be
RE2 movie.
Yep.
we're gonna be covering this
Apocalypse.
on my YouTube channel.
They
soon.
reenact that one moment. She's running along the glass, and pop, 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 pop.
And
They
It's popping behind her.
But they do it with
Alice. They do it with Alice. Yeah.
I remember the scene then. I was
So,
confused.
so the whole thing is that Claire's she's infiltrated this top secret Umbrella lab, which is the same place that the Nemesis comes from, and she's gets caught, right? And so what's told in a 2-minute FMV, even it might be 1 minute 30. The rumor for this is that it's going to be stretched out into a full playable section before the game actually starts, and it will end.
I would love it to be stealth.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this: how would you? So you want it to be a stealth thing? What? So because you're avoiding guards? Like Resi's never done this ever.
Yeah, but this is where I want it to be because it should be new, right? It should break new grounds. Because they know what's right, and we'll get to the right bit once you get to the island. So why not experiment a little bit? This is the possibilities of Resident Evil, isn't it? We're trying out new things now, aren't we? With Resident Evil. We're trying out new things, ready for the future of this series, aren't we? So why not throw in a bit of stealth at this point, just to see if it hits?
Well, to be fair, if you think about Rev 2, Revelations 2, they had in that the ability to be able to stealth attack people.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. It's really good. So you play as Barry, and you got the ability to be able to walk around, and you see like a creature or a zombie or something like that.
Wait, you play as Barry in Rev 2?
Yeah.
The one that you love, Rev 2.
I loved Rev 2.
Yeah,
you play as Claire, and then it splits and you play as Barry.
Yeah.
So sick.
So full of shit.
And so you walk around and you can stealth. And so there is that. So it's not totally alien for the game that Kami mentioned. It will be interesting though. I think for me, what I would like from that segment is atmosphere. Just, I'd like it to be heavily scripted.
Okay.
It'd be like 10, 15 minutes, nothing more than that. And it's just a case of you're taking in the metallic surfaces, you're realizing how good the ray tracing is. If this game comes out, if this rumor is to be believed, it would come out next year, right? Which then you're thinking it's on the RE engine as opposed to the new engine. So then you're thinking, right, okay, well, we already know how good the ray tracing can be on certain parts because the game that Kami mentioned, 3 Remake, its ray tracing parts when you go into the lab is insane. It's so good.
It's beautiful.
So if you could have that kind of style, and you're walking around it and it's slow and it's atmospheric, that'd be fine for me.
How could you do that at the start of a game though?
Well, simply.
How could you do that?
You have all the aspects, like kind of the geometrical, all the features of
the puzzle solving that will come up, that kind of thing,
but
right?
Also, the intro to the game the Convention 3 make was Jill running from Nemesis. And it's a very scripted scenario.
Yeah.
It could literally just be the same.
Yeah.
Where they script the fuck out of it. Where you do this, you do this, you do this, and then it opens into the exploration. And it might just be a bit longer, sure, but not much more tedious. I think it'd be fine. And I think I'd also appreciate it.
I think it would be nice to have that section and it not be an FMV.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt, but the game, the Convention 3, I think that opening sequence with Nemesis when you're running away, it wasn't long enough.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So Rockfort being the same thing.
Well, no.
Rockfort is where they go.
Yeah. So,
you're on about prior to Rockfort.
Yeah. So you're in the Paris labs, you get arrested, and that's when CV starts.
Okay, sure.
Because you arrive at Rockfort.
Well, even then, you're trying to escape, but it's hella scripted. Even then, they could flesh that out. And if it's long enough, even if it's scripted as shit, scripted doesn't necessarily mean bad.
No.
Well,
because
we're not saying that.
Majority of like Last of Us is scripted as hell.
Yeah.
Majority of most PlayStation exclusives is scripted as hell. And
but they're not saying you're going to get a scripted 10 minutes. They're saying this is going to be
playable.
A playable area.
Which is fine though.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean...
It doesn't strike me as if this is going to be just a little bit of a set piece here.
No, I'm thinking...
This means an extra section to the game, but needs to be something different because she doesn't experience, like, enemies and before that, right? And she hasn't got anything. She's just exploring. So we've got a, like... That's why I'm saying it's going to be more of a stealth mission as opposed to more of like an action-paced.
I agree with you. I agree with you because I think it's a way that you can show off some of the key components that will come up across Rockfort Island, and especially what the crazy thing for me, and the thing that we haven't read out on this rumor, but that is mental to me, and I think this is something that will kind of take this down from the relevance state for you is that apparently this demo ends not when you arrive in Rockfall Island, it's when you arrive in the estate.
Right.
So if you remember, the estate is when you meet the Ashfords for the first time.
Yeah.
So there's quite a bit that happens. You meet Steve before that. You've got actually, you've probably got about a good solid hour and a bit, I reckon, before you even get there. Because you think you get up, the guy lets you out of your cell, the guy who's like nearly dying, who gets hit in Albert Wesker's attack, and he lets you out. You got all those corpses that are rising from the graves. You run through all that section. You meet Steve. You got to find a couple of keys. You got to find a fire extinguisher. You got to do all this shit that happens before you even get there, right? And that's like, I don't know. Like the problem is with CV is it's the longest game that can't be mentioned from the classic era by a fucking long way. So 15 hours for what was a 6-hour game experience.
We're not at the point with the bugs.
No, we're not the moths. We're not the moths. That's way late. That's when you go to the Arctic later.
With the
Yeah. We're not there. We're not there.
Okay. I don't want to spoil it for Spence.
Oh god.
Oh, if they remake it, I won't play the original.
No, you should. You should. It's one of the best.
I own it.
It's one of the best.
And I started 0, but I'm fucking.
Zero was always one of my favorites.
I haven't continued it.
Yeah.
0.
David didn't like Zero.
The switching mechanic in the game where you switch between characters is fucking awesome.
But what she does is she twists.
That was the question on the last quiz we lost, wasn't it? Taking it back to this rumor, I believe this rumor in as much as I think they could flesh out the Paris section. I think they could make it work.
I think they should.
I think they should too.
Because it builds on it.
Yeah, and I think it'd be nice, and it would be a chance for you to read about some of the files about things that come up later in the series. Like you can read about some of the things they found from say what happened in the game that can't be mentioned for things like that. They can read about how it
bridges the gap, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's
nice.
The games. I think that was people's main complaint with it.
You could really tie it up a little bit and make it fit a bit more, because the thing with CV is that CV is what game that can't be mentioned fans would say is the third entry.
Okay.
It feels like a third entry compared to 3.
Because 3 is just 2.5.
Yeah, it is 2.5. Yeah.
So
3 is 2.5, and then CV is 4. Yeah.
So CV should be 3 because CV shows what happened to Wesker, and it shows what happened to like Chris and to Claire. Which
makes sense to tie it with 3 rather than to put it after.
Yeah, it makes way more sense.
Yeah.
So that's always been the thing. And so the Paris section could give you that chance to be able to really tie that up a little bit more.
To bridge the gap a little bit.
To really bridge that.
Yeah.
And the only thing I don't agree with this post, and the reason why I think this post is actually probably bullshit, is because they're saying the demo will end at when you arrive at the estate. That's way too far in for a demo.
And
way too far.
And the date they think is going to come out, right?
Yeah, so they're talking early 2024.
But it's still, realistically, it still could. But if you know anything about the Game of the Can't Mention demos, everything's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So they still could.
They're
put
very
it in
short, though. The demos are usually very short.
But with the Game of the Can't Mention 2 demo, I explicitly remember it was like an hour long, but everything's just in the wrong place. So then I remember watching Maximilian play the game.
Yeah.
After he played the demo, boot the game, and he was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he didn't have a clue what to do. He was like, "I planned out my whole start of the game for the stream."
We never played the original.
And he did, but it was obviously just different, wasn't it? 'Cause it's a remake. And he was like, "Shit," and he just had to figure it out on the fly. And it was like, fair enough, that's what you're supposed to do with a video game anyway. But yeah, it was fucked.
I mean, this would be the interesting thing now. I suppose the question is, do you guys think that, I suppose, first off, that CV Remake is next? And then secondly, do you believe the rumor? Phil's come across to you.
I hope CV is next. I don't know where else they're going to go. You know, is 5 or CV ready? They're the two options. As much as I'm a big 5 fan, I think CV, if they missed out, it would be an injustice.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it is such a fundamental fan favorite, and I think people they've made versions of the game, which is crazy, right? No one's making their own version of Resident Evil 5.
Ooh.
Oh, Phil. Oh, Phil. You poor soul.
Well, no one's done that.
You hit the button.
But no one's done that yet, have they?
They haven't, no.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And I agree with you. The thing is, CV is the next logical leap because we've seen Wesker's inclusion now in separate ways. And now we got to show how he's got these powers.
Yeah.
And CV is all about shows how he doesn't show how he survived, but it shows what happened and
To him.
what he can do.
Yeah.
It shows what he can do. And he sources Chris.
Course.
He sources Chris.
Until Game Over 5. Yeah.
Yeah. He sources him, bro. This would be where they can have that moment where they can be like, oh, how did you survive the tyrant? And they could show that, right?
Yeah.
Which would be so sick. Because we've had that in spin-off games, but to be able to see that in like what is now the new main line,
the new gen,
would be sick. And I think for me personally, I agree it's CV next.
Yeah.
I think it makes logical sense. Do it in the old RE engine, the one we're used to. Everyone will be super happy with it. I don't agree with this rumor. I think this rumor is bullshit.
I'll tell you what, I agree with literally, as much as it's going to piss off Phil, I agree with literally everything you said. Whereas I agree with everything where it's so realistic that it could exist.
Yeah.
I agree with everything where it may as well should exist and it makes sense to. I don't want to see it come to fruition because I want Outbreak.
Oh.
I want Outbreak.
There's no rumors for that though.
That's all it is. But that's what I want.
I don't think that's.
I want a multiplayer game that can't be mentioned experience. And Outbreak is
classic.
Not like RE5, not like RE6. Does that count?
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
I'll do another shot. That's fine. But not like those games. I want an Outbreak experience.
Okay.
Where it's original classic game can't be mentioned. That's fine. I'll do a fireball.
Hard topic to talk about, isn't it, really?
Difficult.
Especially when we're drunk. Yeah, especially.
Difficult.
It's the most shots we've ever had on a game that can't be mentioned. Listeners, I would love to know what you feel about this.
Love.
Do you want to see the game that can't be mentioned 5? Or, like us, are you happy to see Veronica rise from the grave, rise up from Rockford Island, and come into relevance? Let us know. Right into the podcast, ps2trust@gmail.com, or hit us up on the socials.